Let's come back to this team thing. You say you're impatient. I wouldn't like to encounter you in a dark alley when you're cross. It wouldn't be a nice thing. How do you handle people then? How do you manage people in your Wissenhof group?
You, again, as in a team environment on the field, you have to rely on other people. Sometimes it's tough to let go. It's very hard because you've been bitten in the past. And I'm learning to do that now. You know, my better half forces me to do that. I'm learning that, and you have to let go. And sometimes that's the risk. You know, sometimes people maybe don't have the same passion or the same commitment or the same vision, and it comes back and bites you. But that's the way it is. That's what team sport is about. You have to trust people. I think to sort of, in a way, keep the damage not at a high level is that you must make sure who those people are. Pick them right, which is also a tough.
That's a tough call sometimes. Let's come back to the team side of it and go back in time as well. When you were around, I mean, 1995, that sort of time, Transvaal days, Springbok days, before you won the World Cup, were there any real sponsorship deals doing the rounds in those days? Or was it a question of, hey, Kobus, listen, wear my boots and I'll give you them for free?
Well, the sponsorship deals were around for some time. You know, boots, not really money, boots, clothing. That was common to all sports teams. And then, yeah, there were a bit of money unofficially going under the table. I remember my first game for the Boland. I was a student, and we were paid R5 only for an away game because at home the beer was for free. And then I went to the old Western Transvaal to Potch, and then we got R50 home and away, and it's Big Tom. Then we were professionals as students. Then I came to the good old Vaal, and I remember sitting next to, you remember Cheese van Tonder in the change room, and the legendary Wally Walters, the silver assassin. Came around like this. He was hiding something in his jacket, and he would look around and say, and he would pass you a little envelope, and you would open that envelope up, and there was 500 bucks.
You'd hit the big time, eh?
Correct. I called him back. I said, is this for the year in advance? He says, no, it's per game. I said to Cheese van Tonder, we ain't moving anywhere.
I asked that question because 2 weekends ago, I was watching Heineken Cup Rugby. And I mean, you look at some of those teams like Papillon, Saracens, Northamptonshire. I mean, you watch a Saracens game and you could be watching a Currie Cup game because, I mean, the commentator is saying, ball comes out, de Kock to who God? And we're going, what? That's Hougaard. To who God? Brits takes it on to Botha. Those guys, there are a frightening amount of South Africans doing contracts overseas. Are those contracts, they must be worth their while financially?
It's big money. They pay, and especially the French clubs these days, because the French have made a change around in their club rugby. They have now gone out and big companies like Peugeot or Renault, whatever, they buy these clubs. So the chairman of Peugeot, who knows Zippo about rugby, but it's sort of an ego thing, owns this club, and they would pump huge money into them. So they can compete with the pound now, all of a sudden, the euro and the pound. The rand can't compete with that. So guys would either have played for the Boks a couple of tests, you think, well, there's nothing left for me, I'm going to go for 2-3 years over there and get a retirement package, or can't break into the Springbok squad for whatever reason, and then say, listen, I've had enough of this nonsense. I'm going over there, and I'm going to at least try my hand over there, play in a really good competition, the Heineken Cup, because it's really good rugby, and make some good money.
I've always said, you know, that with the Grand Slam series coming up now at the end of the year, is there not a place, or is there not an argument to drop that Grand Slam series at the end of the year? Because it hammers the guys. And rather put in in the case of next year, a Super 15 versus Heineken Cup winners competition, a North versus South thing. Because that way you'd be able to rest some of your Boks and play more club level or provincial level.
Interesting point you're making. A lot of people are saying we should try that. Just bear in mind, now with the Super 15 next year, because it's the World Cup year, the competition will now only end of July. In a non-World Cup year, it will only end of August. So that's only Super 15. Now, where are we playing the Currie Cup? Where are we playing the Vodacom Cup, the Varsity Cup? That must still be sort of weaved in between. I agree with you with the interview tours. I think we should not have them. If you want to send somebody, use that as a development tour. Barbarians, SA 15, SA junior side, let them go and play over there, because when they come over here, these guys, they always send their B and C team. They rest all their top guys, and we always fall for the same joke.
Are we not, and when I say we, every sport really, killing our own sports by overexposing them?
What is the asset to any union is the player. Would you want, if you invest in a player, we're in a money show, invest in a player, nice choice of words for a tight forward. Anyway, so you want as much years out of this guy, of your investment, as possible. Am I right or wrong? Yeah, it seems that we're shortening the guy's lifespan, because, Jerry, with the load of games you're playing, the intensity, you cannot last more than 2 to 3 years at the top before you break down with injury. It's just not possible.
What are you invested in?
I believe,
apart from Belinda,
I believe in property. You can never go wrong with property. Right. I remember my dad saying to me, maybe 1 million times, if he only knew, he would have put all his money in any property anywhere in South Africa. You always make your money. I've got a couple of good mates in the Jewish community, and you can talk to the Jewish community. They always invest in property and believe it's always, in the long run, it's always the best investment.
So are you invested in property?
Yes, I think it's a great investment.
Equities?
I think maybe out of ignorance, not knowing enough of the stock exchange. I look at it, but at this stage, not in a big way now.
Yeah, I think, I think that's what frightens a lot of people, and it's maybe something we should address on this show, is dig into this whole equities asset area, because a lot of people are frightened by it, and I mean, we big oaks and we're frightened by it. Going forward, Kobus, what are your plans?
I think.
Are you still enjoying what you're doing?
I love what I do. I'm extremely blessed, and I love what I'm doing. I have to mingle with people. I have to talk to people, learn from people every day, and what better place than the restaurant trade, because they're not only behind the counter but also in front of the counter. You see all kinds of people, and it's very hard, but it's rewarding in the end. When you see somebody and you take somebody that knows nothing and you train them and they become a qualified barista, which is a specialized coffee maker, and they get a certificate, and they make the most beautiful cup of coffee with the nicest crema and some latte art and stuff like that. It's brilliant. It's great to see that, and you see that they're proud of that, and people acknowledge them when they drink a wonderful cup of coffee. It's an art. It really is an art, and we're very focused on that these days. We've appointed a lady called Pam Kutsia, who's a beverage technologist, and that's all she does, is check the quality of the coffees and retrain people. So much you can do in a cup of coffee. It's not just serving a cup of coffee. It's from the bean you buy, the quality of the bean, the way it's roasted. It's the combination of the blend. It's the course of the grind. It's the pressure of the espresso machine. All these kind of things. The quality of the milk, how you froth it. These things make a difference. You can have the best quality bean. If the barista is not qualified, it could taste like dishwater.
Yeah, you see, that's something that we tend not to have in South Africa. Is you go overseas and you will find people who are professional barmen, professional coffee makers. We don't tend to have that sense of professionalism.
We have this, and I don't know why, this attitude that a waiter in South Africa is the last way out before you're standing at the corner. I don't know why.
Yeah.
In Europe, as you said, you don't find youngsters as barmen and waiters.
You can get a 64-year-old guy who's a professional waiter.
His whole life.
Yeah.
He's got his clientele by the name. They only are being served by him. It's a hell of a profession. They're proud of it. We must change our attitude in this country in that regard, I think.
These days, I mean, if you say, what do you do for a living? And people say, I'm a waiter, they presume you've got a BA degree, because a BA degree comes, would you like chips or baked potato with it? So, before you go, it's been wonderful talking to you, by the way. We push the envelope on this show every now and again. We've got a question in from Graham in Uppington. I love that part of the world.
Is Graham with that name sure he's from Uppington?
Springbok or kip, that northwestern
area where I grew up,
area.
wonderful area.
It's a beautiful,
Stunning.
I think it's the openness and the
people
the
are
solitude
just
and the
special.
people. Yeah. Anyway, we digress. What's your best local destination?
I love the West Coast. I grew up on the West Coast, up in Namibia.
Biscuits en biltong, ek is 'n Weskus klon. Biscuits en biltong.
Luderitz, Oranjemunt, the Oukeeps, the Springboks, Nababieps. Wonderful place, South Africa.
International destination, best?
I love Italy. I love Italy. I took my wife there on honeymoon. I just love Italy because you know what? I think they're genuine people. They take 4 hours for dinner.
Yeah.
They have a couple of gallons of red wine between every course. They just love food. They love life.
Now, listen, we haven't even got to Graham's question. Do you guys take forward options on buying product, i.e. coffee beans, in this market?
It's something that we're looking into very, very intensely. It is the best way to go because you can then have it at a much better price and you score on the bottom line. But then you've got to buy the downfall is huge bulk. You're talking containers at a time.